Welcome back. All of the frames have been steamed and put on the boat. And right now, I'm going through and taking off clamps and replacing them with zip ties to hold the frames in their place uh, until I get ready to start planking it. In this episode, we're going to be riveting all of the frames to the floor timbers and doing a little fairing along where the keel will go. Uh, in addition to that, I want to take you out to Brooklyn, Maine with me, where I had learned about yacht design with Paul Gartside, uh, and a little preview of what the next boat might be. So all of that, this episode of The Art of Boat Building. My name is Bob Emser. I'm a sculptor and a boat builder. My sculptures have always been inspired by nautical and aeronautical imagery. In fact, sometimes people passing by my studio would ask if I'm building a boat. I've always enjoyed the artistry of wooden boats. It seems like I've been building boats for over 40 years, and now I'm building sculptures that float. Welcome to the Art of Boat Building. Our next step is to rivet the frames to the floor timbers. And what we're going to do that with is a 10-penny copper nail and a burr. And this burr will fit on the copper nail like so after it goes through the floor timbers. We're going to trim off the nail, and then we'll peen over the copper nail to the burr that'll make a nice tight fit. So first thing to do is to get a drill bit that is just a little bit smaller than the nail so that we can drive those in here first. A trick I had found is to put a little bit of beeswax on the burr. This kept it from bouncing around or off the nail when riveting it. Now that all of the frames are riveted to the floor timbers, we can get ready to lay out the wooden keel. But before that, I went through and removed these upper rib bands and also took my pole saw and trimmed off the frames even with the bottom of the floor timbers. In addition to that, I made sure that all of the limber holes were opened up by trimming off the frames there. So the next step will be getting the pattern out to check for the keel. But before we do that, I'm going to take a short trip out to Brooklyn, Maine, and show you what I learned at the yacht design class with Paul Gartside. Earlier this month, I went out to Brooklyn, Maine, to the Wooden Boat School's course on the elements of yacht design. Including myself, there were 10 students. We met each day for a week in the design loft above the school's workshop. The class was taught by Paul Gartside. Paul is a premier naval architect with hundreds of boat designs under his belt. You can access Paul's designs in his books Plans and Dreams 1 and 2. I would highly recommend his books for any wooden boat enthusiast. Each day, Paul would give us a lecture at the chalkboard, covering all kinds of aspects of boat design. Each of us worked on our own design for a boat that we were interested in. The boat I was interested in designing was a 19-foot mahogany runabout, similar to the 1940 Chris Crafts. We all started our designs with a preliminary design. Paul called these scruffy sketches, and we did these so that they were drawn out to about a half an inch equal to foot. We then enlarged them to 1 inch to 1 foot. On these plans, we would come up with 3 critical views: the profile of the boat, looking straight down on the boat, and then also looking fore and aft on the boat. We then put in where the water line would be, and then water lines above this to divide the boat longitudinally. We also had station marks which divided the boat in sections. Those sections then are what made up these end views here. They were then also divided up in what's called buttock lines. With these lines then, we were able to create a table of offsets. The table of offsets is what would be used to loft the boat to full size. With the class being a relatively small size, we were able to get lots of individualized attention. Here's Paul helping me working out some calculations for the displacement weight of the hull. Some of the other drawings I started working on were some of the cross sections. This is at frame 5 and is looking aft near where the cockpit is. And this is at frame 9 looking aft. I'll be looking forward to finishing up the plans into a final set. I'm really excited about the boat, and perhaps, if everything goes well, it'll be the next boat that I build. After class, Paul and many of us would head down to the waterfront and go sailing. The weather that week was perfect, so I sailed in a haven every day. It was exciting to know that one day I'd be sailing my own haven. We ended the week with a lobster boil on Friday evening. It was a great time to exchange contact information with each other and say our goodbyes. I was sad to see the weekend, but I'm also really excited about heading back next year. The Wooden Boat School is really a fantastic place. And the last 2 years that I have gone, I've learned a tremendous amount about boat building. And in addition to that, I've made some really good friends, some of them that I know will probably be lifelong friends. If you ever had the opportunity to go out and take a class, I would highly recommend it. So back to our haven. You can see I have the pattern that I had made earlier laid out. And it fares out and looks pretty good, matches up pretty well the way that it should. Earlier, I took a batten and put it on the fore and aft sides and to fare out the bottom of the floor timbers and the frames. Required just a little bit of fine tuning, but for the most part, it fared out pretty well. So now that I have this pattern on here, I'm going to be checking it, and once I've got it all checked and make sure that everything is fair and good, then we can start making, cutting out the wood keel. So that's what we'll be doing in the next episode, getting the wood keel cut and fitted to the boat. I want to take this opportunity to thank several of you that have become Patreon subscribers to my channel. It really helps me out in helping to produce these videos. So if you haven't done so already, please take a time to take a look at the Patreon and see if you can perhaps pick a level that would fit your budget. I really appreciate it. So until next time, thanks for watching.